There you go. Lovely.
Hello, this is Crystal Meach with Tao of the Heart. I've taken a little break, but I'm back today with Paul Quinton. So I'm just going to dive right in. And I was on Paul's podcast a couple of weeks ago, and now he's a guest on mine. I can't wait to hear more about Paul. So tell me everything about you.
Yes. Okay, so I grew up in a spiritual psychic family. So I've been involved in this work from a very young age. I was first, I suppose you could say, thrown in at the deep end. So I would do sort of seances with my family on a Tuesday night, where we would help stuck souls, people that have passed over, just communicate with the non-physical. And then there's an array of topics, but it was mainly balanced around rescue work, to be honest. My family were very much, instrumental in that. And then we used to go to the spiritualist church a couple of times, not for anything religious. It was more, the spiritualist church is fantastic because you get a psychic up the top, and then of course there's a plethora of non-physical beings there, and they're all trying to get a message through. And then you generally you get picked out. Okay, so and so's here, and then they pass on messages. So that was always a great introduction. And so for me, that reality, which is in my perception is true reality, became very conscious. And so obviously we live in the world of illusion here, but that's our home, that non-physical place. So it's very nice to have that experience from a very young age. And then I grew up, just had my normal sort of living. Went to school, then I went in the military. I was traveling for a couple of years. I worked on cruise ships. I used to run the spa. And then I suppose I've been back in this work full time now for about 22 years. But always knowing that spirit had been there, and even in my teens, my mum used to channel an American Indian called Running Feather. So she used to speak with a man's voice. So we used to do that every week with my dad. So that was always interesting. And I used to ask, topics about extraterrestrials, life on other planets. I was asking all the right questions as a 16-year-old would do. I was interested, very exciting stuff. And then obviously it would help us. It was there for our, development as well. When you work with these types of beings, it's all about evolution and getting things moving, which was fantastic. So that, I had a lot of connection with that. And then, like I said, full time doing this as a therapist now. And in the last sort of 8 years, I've been sort of channeling more directly with spirits. So bringing their voice through, through books, through oracle cards, alignment modality, which is my teaching platform, which is now patented and insured in 35 countries. And that's really a process of a conscious alignment to the new earth energies for the new human being. So it takes out all the misinformation, takes out all the hype, all the different old earth teachings in some ways, simplified the process. They use a bridge science with spirituality, which is good. We use universal laws for healing. So it takes all the woo-woo out of it. It's very, very simple. There's a little bit of quantum physics in there as well. So and they wanted it to be digestible for the man on the street because every human being's suffering. And so we need to make healing and evolution simplified now because we're already too bogged down and humanity is exhausted. So it's a beautiful process, and it's still opening up. It evolves. It's an evolving modality, which is great, and as we go through our own experiences, then we can mirror that to our clients, which is great. So yeah, it's been a great journey so far. Absolutely.
And so you have, is it workshops and you work one-on-one with people?
Correct. Yes. So I do my one-on-ones. That's international as well because we always work on, over the phone or on Zoom, etc. And then the alignment modality is online as well. So generally we have 2 or 3 continents, which is fantastic. So you'll get a lot of different nationalities, which is great. And it's so much better. I mean, that's the gift of COVID. People just went online and it's become the new norm. And trying to sort of run these workshops in your local area, it's a lot expensive for people. If people want to travel too, you've got hotel expenses, and trying to get that many people from your local area is always harder. But if you've got an international audience, it's fantastic. And I think that's the new way of teaching, which has been brilliant. So yeah, so we teach that as well. And that's a 4-part modality. So it's done over about 18 months because each part has to lead to the next. And Spirit are very clear that they want it taught this way because there has to be an unconditioning process before you go on to the next level. and before you can receive that new divine current that moves through you, we have to clear the emotional body. So we work a lot with the emotions, the mind in the first, and then we go into the shadow work. Then we go directly connecting to spirit, which is very good. And we bring in a lot of element medicine as well, which is all your vibrational medicine, and obviously activations. You get symbols as well, and whole set of symbols like you do in Reiki and places like that. So it's really it's brilliant, and we've had some fantastic feedback with it. So yeah, and just seeing the transformation in people is very rewarding. As you do this work as well. So
Yeah, totally. Kind of interesting. The other day I was just working on someone and something came through and it was kind of like an instant well, my intuition called it the kill switch, but it was
okay,
like they immediately hit a state of relaxation, like pure, like I don't know, it's almost like hypnosis in a way.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Nice.
I don't know about the name, but
Yeah, Kill Switch. Yeah,
yeah.
it's the new Hollywood movie coming out.
Yeah.
Kill Switch. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, it's rewarding, this work, isn't it? I mean, it's just and Spirit been very clear. You have to be authentic of your own experience, and you see a lot of not against their will, but it's in the sense that people aren't always aware, even the healers, of their own shadow self. And Spirit were very clear that Spirit that you have to be authentic of your life path. So you have to have gone through it, and I think that that's really important, because then you can hold space for people as well, because you understand their process. And we have to go into the depth of our shadow self to really unite this whole gift of separation here, because there's a lot of people that don't want to go into it. But this is what the teachings are very good now, because they've simplified that and they take that fear and worry out of going into self-inquiry, because no one wants to go into their emotions. It's too scary. They don't want to feel the pain, the grief. But that's where your freedom is. You have to go into it. But if you understand that you're the creator of it and you're also the healer of it, it's a lot more empowering than believing you're at the whim of those emotions, that they are something that's going to control you. And the irony is they want out of you as much as you want them gone, because they're living consciousness as well. So it's
Yeah, it's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, it's good. It's good.
Um, we were going to talk a little bit about loss.
Loss, yes.
Um, because I only have you for a short window today, but but I want to dig into that. Like we were going to talk about messages from the other side. And could you tell us maybe like one story of healing where you were working with someone and maybe you received a message from the other side, or um, just a story of hope that my viewers would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, there's been many stories. I mean, it's I think what's the process of connecting in with someone's soul. I mean, the greatest thing for when I do my work is, and Spirit again have been very, very clear that no healer can take away your pain. So even the word healer is redundant, really, because yes, you can do cranial sacral therapy, massage, you can release trauma from the body, and yes, you can do healing on people. But to go into the depth of the subconscious, the parallel lifetimes, the multidimensionality, which is really the baggage of all of our trauma, you have to feel it, you have to acknowledge it. So the modern day healer now is, in a sense, their gift is their psychic and intuition. So that is their ability to receive stories from the other side. I mean, I talk to ancestors all the time. I get messages. There's not one particular. It's just a very common day-to-day thing for me. So, I mean, I've seen people light up when they've realised that their mothers come through, for example, that have been abusive or abandoned them, and when they feel that they've acknowledged what they've done, the release is much faster. So it does bring tears to the eyes. And I've spoke to people that have passed over, they've come through, and I say, oh, look, your brother or your husband standing behind you now. And they'll always give a sign. They'll say, he'll be wearing a particular suit or a tie that they wear, and they go, "Oh my God, that's him!" So they always give that message to so you're congruent and aligned with the person, which is fantastic. So that happens quite a bit. But coming back to what I was saying, this whole process of intuition and psychic development. If you're a healer, if you work on those two in yourself, because when you go into someone's soul body or their past lives, if they're not aware of those lives, they can't transform it. So that's your gift as the healer, is that, okay, well, I'm seeing you in ancient Mesopotamia, for example, whatever. And you're working in the market, you've got this, you're going on, and your father did this, your father did that, blah, blah, blah. And you give them the story, and then straight away, it resonates with what they're feeling now, because those lives are where that trauma started. So you have to go back to that original point. So when I say that, their super intelligence already knows that. So what happens is it bridges the two. So when there's a bridge, it aligns and it gets the polarity moving, which is oscillation. So all healing is about oscillation. The reason we get disease and illness is because we have unilateral holds in our organs or our bones or a muscle or chakras, whatever. So when that's swinging, then obviously alignment can come into place, because then the frequency moves down into that space, which is divine current, healing energy, however you want to word it, and it will create an oscillation to remove it. So it's the same with bipolar disease. That's actually divine intelligence merging with the human being, creating polarity resonance. So it's trying to force one polarity against another to release itself. So that's very interesting as well, and it's amazing but the great thing is like I said, healing it's been simplified now. And if the person steps up to the plate and goes, right, I'm sick and tired of feeling like I just can't go anywhere. There's nowhere else to go. And when you sort of hit that rock bottom, that's when you sort of, something opens up in you. And when that intention opens up, the person transforms much faster. If you come to healing with like, I'm just going to do a little bit, I'm just going to resist, I'm not going to say that, that's the ego. You're already sabotaging yourself. So the greatest stories around healing are the people that come and are genuine and really just want to, I've just had enough, I want something more for myself. But I've had another amazing stories. A girl that had done the post module 4 workshop, she had a lot of Atlantean beings come in. She'd had a lot of lives there. So they were talking to her, and they were all right, you've got to work with this crystal, you've got to work with that. And overnight, she pretty much transformed her whole life. Let go of her job. She was a teacher. Then she opened up a healing retreat and a shop. And it's all massive in Australia. And it's amazing. And that's the beauty of things. When you align with your soul, the soul path is then presented to you easily and effortlessly. And what happens is you actually take a step back. And I used to tell this to people a lot. She had that experience where she said to me, I don't know how it happened. It's almost like I wasn't doing it. And literally, she said the same thing. I stood back and just observed everything manifesting in front of me. So everyone has that ability. So we're really trying to get people to trust that process and find, because a lot of people say, well, what can I do? Well, just work on yourself. That heals the whole world. It heals humanity, because we're all plugged into it. So, and a lot of people, oh, what's my purpose? Your purpose now is dealing with your past, because the soul is trying to resolve itself, is trying to get people out of the karmic cycle that keeps stuck on this planet. If you create karma with someone and you don't resolve it in this life, you will come back just to resolve that karma. So everything's continual. So we've got beings on the planet at the moment that shouldn't be here, but they keep creating conflict when they come. So their souls cannot get them off the planet, because we're governed by universal law as well. So, there's a lot to that now. So just working on yourself, taking that plunge inward is the purpose. You don't need to go and become a billionaire, crash the markets, create a new business. You can do all that, but honestly, if you find that peace within you, that's the greatest reward that you can give yourself in this life. So it's everything's being turned on its head at the moment. We're not going outwards anymore. The masculine energy is now surrendering to the feminine, with the feminine energy rebirthing itself now. So less is more. Be more receptive, ground, and just take your time. You don't need to go out there striving, struggling, and searching, because so many people do, and they get exhausted and never get their results. So and why dreams don't work. We dream from your mental concept. You dream from societal programming. I need to be this. I need to do that. And if it's out of alignment with the soul, it's not gonna manifest. And then people get depleted. Oh, it never worked. I spent all that money, all that time. Well, if you're aligned with your true self, you wouldn't have wasted all that time and money. You'd have gone, actually, that's not my path. So, and there's a lot of talk around, kids coming out of school and university. What do you know at 18, 19, 20, 21? Life is a discovery. You've got to walk the path, And so and this is the whole world's a bit of a mess at the moment. We're getting there. So it's some people just know, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
There's only a handful. Yeah.
That's the great thing. I mean, everyone's at a different level, and some
And
people,
no judgment around that. We're all
yeah,
evolving at our own pace. Absolutely. Yeah.
and they're gonna wake up when they're ready to wake up.
Exactly. And we'll be there to help them when they do, so that's all good.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna share, well, first of all, there's so many things I could say right now, but one of the things is, you were talking about the masculine surrendering to the feminine, and that's really been coming up for me lately with Isis has been coming through. Um, and it's a lot of like coding through the pyramids and just holding space for the masculine to surrender. And at the same time, it's kind of spirit can kind of come through with some humor too.
Oh, absolutely. The humor, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where all our humor comes from anyway.
Yeah. Because I think something came through the Akashic Records the other day, and it was like Isis saying, why would you waste your time with suffering fools?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, that came through that came through my channeling last night when I was with my group.
Really?
We said we don't suffer fools. Yeah. That's so funny. Amazing. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been working with this Isis energy. What's it been
Well,
bringing forward?
yeah, I mean, well, there's a woman that helps, she channels through the Akashic Records. And
Okay.
and it's been like 6 years I've been working with her.
Oh,
And
nice.
so Isis has come through a lot of times. Like we get a lot of Egyptian type and Sumerian type channeling. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Fantastic.
But yeah, and I know earlier we were talking about my daughter's father, and yeah, I that's a big part of me being here, is really understanding that what I have control of and what I don't have control of.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. That's
And
always an interesting one.
yeah, and holding space for whatever we're here to heal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And without going into too much detail, but yeah, it's amazing how past lives come up in this life. And like you were saying about past life regressions, I've had several past life, well, I've had 6 of them.
Okay.
But the first one that I had, it showed the end of my life. First of all, I was like some type of Indian.
Yeah.
And I had been blown in the head and I was bleeding out of the head, and like there was an arrow through my hand.
Right.
So I just watched as I died and my soul went up to the light. So that was the first past life regression I had.
Okay.
And then the second one that I had, it was like in the 70s. I was at the beach and I was in a car accident and I died. immediately from the crash, and
Yeah.
I watched my soul banging on the window, looking at my body, and then it went up to the light. And so it was really hard at first because it was like so emotional.
Yeah.
Like I got out of this dream, these two dreams, and I was like, what the hell
Yeah.
was that about?
Absolutely. Yeah. God.
And it wasn't till like 6 months later I went back into the Akashic records and I was like, what was that about? And they were like, you are afraid of dying before you get through the lesson in this life.
Ah. Yeah. That
So,
makes.
well, it makes sense, but it just kind of like blows your mind that you have this fear and you didn't even realize you had
Yes.
that fear.
Good old subconscious. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Santa's sack. It's so much stuff in it. Yeah. God. Yeah. It's the ball and chain, as we say.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then another thing I wanted to touch on was like loss of loved ones. I know we just had we're dealing with the Pope just died,
Yes.
and you were suffering a loss. You know, I talked about Brett's story of loss
Yes.
on your channel, my brother-in-law, and amazing stories of after his death. Um, and I just wanted to touch on that, like like the other side, the veil is so thin. Like if you want to reach out and talk to someone, I mean, you can go through Paul, you can go through another channeler, but they're there. Like
Yes. 100%.
and and it
They don't go
doesn't take
away.
much to call them.
The irony is they're always trying to communicate through channels because they want their voice heard. So, it's always a plethora of spirits around, and yeah, exactly. And depending on the intention set out, you will draw in certain beings. Absolutely. So yeah, yeah. And yeah, you channel for people sometimes just so they can get a message. It's a nice reward. Absolutely. And it really sort of helps you heal and move on, especially when people have died suddenly or things haven't been said. I've seen amazing healing just through those messages in the spiritualist churches. Like people just, oh, it's that sigh of relief. Oh, they're okay. Oh, yeah. And they do want to hold on to that resentment. And it's like, it's so freeing, and it really does. It definitely assists people to move on and get over the grief of losing someone as well. I think that's a big thing because that can be very crippling. As I'm sure you went through your grief as well, so understand that whole process.
Yeah, and grief shows up in such funny ways, and there's not like a timing of it. Like you can't just it's just like arrives at sometimes
Yeah.
the worst times.
Yes,
And
absolutely,
it's like
absolutely.
you're gonna deal with it now. And it's like, oh
Yes.
shit. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and everyone does it, affects in different ways, don't they? So you just got to know that it doesn't have to be debilitating, and we are eternal beings. So we just come in and out of this life so often. When you're on the non-physical, you think, oh, that's nothing, yeah, I passed over, but I'm going to be back again next year. I'm going to do it all again, and you've got a multiverse to explore and be. Life is endless. So it's I suppose you just got to you've got to have some connection to that feeling, have a few of those experiences, and then you sort of trust. And then it lets a lot of that programming of human conditioning go because we're so fearful around death as well. In the old days, you would just walk out of your body. You say, right, ready to go and just walk out. You just step out. We don't understand, in the light cycle, you don't understand the word death. We've created that through our programming. So, yeah, absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
it's so interesting that you say that because there was one conversation that I was listening to, and it was like deep metaphysics. And they were saying the conversation was, is this really that we're sleeping right now. And then when we die, we wake up. So this is the dream now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Well, you have another life when you at night anyway. You step out your body, you're doing all kinds of other different things.
yeah,
You
and
know, you definitely.
it's funny that you mentioned that because Winnie and I were out at a restaurant last night and there was this waitress there, our waitress, and it was like a sudden deja vu moment. And I was like, where do I know this woman? I've never seen her before.
Yeah, yeah. That's it, isn't it? You just know.
Yeah. So it's like, what the heck? And
Yeah,
then it
that's pretty
bothers
cool.
you because you're like, how do I know this? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just, I know that person, and you reckon, when did I see them? And it's not even from this life. Right? Your mind is like, I know, maybe it was school, maybe it was in. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, definitely not. Not this life. Well, you don't meet anyone new, you don't interact with anyone new. So everyone you do sort of have an interaction with, you definitely had a life with on some level. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because everything, if anyone triggers you in any way, in emotionally, mentally, anyway, that's definitely something that's a part of your soul baggage in some ways. Because even if someone just initially just triggers anger in you, it can be, yes, it can be from another life, but also we are also mirroring each other all the time. We're always in service of each other. So, the worst person in your life is actually your greatest healer, your greatest teacher, because they've triggered your shadow. So we've just got to flip it around. You've got to see your trauma, the shadow, the negative as a very positive experience, because without it, it would be null and void here. You wouldn't have this experience. So, and I love that old saying, Spirit said to you, there is not light and dark. There's just light. And when light decides to turn on itself, it turns around. And what does it see? It's shadow. That's all it is. We are both this
Yeah.
primordial concept of good and bad, evil and good doesn't exist. And ironically, black is the divine, is the mother before mother. It's the black hole. It's the feminine where everything comes from. White is the masculine color. Pink is the divine feminine. 666 is the carbon. It's the God particle, nothing to do with the devil. And 13 is the feminine number. So they say that's all bad luck, but it's not. It's actually pure consciousness. So this is where we've been programmed, you see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing to come to that realization that all the shit that happens to
Yeah. Yeah.
you. And saying that is almost like playing the victim, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
it's all the greatest thing that ever happens is because you learn through healing um how to love yourself, I guess, at the end of the
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 The trauma is always a reset, but you've got to be, you've got to take the lesson. But it definitely humbles you, that's for sure.
And
You
on that,
go, well, what's important and what's not anymore?
right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for coming on today. I would love to have you again when we have a little more time. And
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Absolutely. Thanks, Crystal. Take care.
You too. Oh, oh shit.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's like, okay. Well, she
Like,
definitely has to rush to the school.
yeah. There we go.